Here you go, Don Eusebio. It's warm, and I added more rice this time, Claudia said with a gentle smile. But Miss Claudia, what about you? The old man asked hesitantly. Don't worry, I've already eaten, she lied softly. Please, don't say no. The elderly man bent over by the weight of his years, stretched out his trembling hands and received the plastic container, his eyes glistening with emotion. God bless you, child. You're one of the few good flowers left in this world. Claudia smiled, though her stomach grumbled with real hunger. That was her only meal for the day, but she had learned that some things filled the heart far more than food. The certainty of doing the right thing, of kindness, was nourishment enough. What Claudia didn't know was that a few meters away, seated in a car parked in front of her modest flower stand, someone was silently observing her. Mateo Viagran. Mateo Viagran, 44 years old, owner of Floralia, the most prestigious chain of flower boutiques in the country, had stopped his car by pure chance, or perhaps by destiny. He had been reviewing his agenda on his phone when his eyes caught the scene through his rear-view mirror. A simple woman, wearing a dirt-stained apron, sharing food with an elderly stranger with tender, quiet dignity. Something in that moment made him pause. He couldn't explain why, but he couldn't drive away. The next day he returned. He parked farther away and watched as Claudia opened her humble flower stand, arranging each bloom as if she were mending her own heart. She placed a jar of fresh water for the daisies, separated wilted roses, carefully lifted fallen leaves, and softly hummed a song only she could hear. Mateo realized he hadn't seen someone move with such serenity in a very long time. At noon, gathering his courage, he bought a bottle of water and approached. "Good afternoon," he greeted. Claudia turned with a shy smile. "Good afternoon. What flower do you like?" "I don't know," he admitted. "Maybe you can tell me which one I need." She looked into his eyes, did not recognize who he was, only saw a man with an elegant air but eyes full of old sadness. "Is it an old sorrow or a fresh wound?" she asked softly. Mateo was caught off guard. "That changes the flower?" "Of course," she smiled. "New wounds heal with sunflowers, old sorrows with lavender." He laughed, truly laughed for the first time in years. From then on, he returned every day. Sometimes he bought flowers, sometimes not. He just stood and watched her work. Claudia never pried. She simply shared cinnamon coffee and little market stories. One morning, she found him gently picking up a fallen flower. "Don't worry," she said. "That one's no good. But if it still wants to live, then it's yours," she replied. Mateo found himself increasingly drawn to her, to the smell of damp earth, to the sound of her laughter when her old hat slipped, to her hands full of thorns, but her heart always in bloom. One day, as she was preparing a simple bridal bouquet, he asked quietly, "Have you ever thought of working in a formal flower shop?" "No," she replied. "This little world is mine. Small, but it's mine." "And if someone offered you something bigger?" She hesitated. "And if they take it away later?" "Who?" "Life," she whispered. Mateo fell silent. He realized she wasn't just someone who had lost things. She had learned not to expect anything, and yet still gave everything. Days later, he returned with a proposal. "I'm starting a new floral training program," he explained. "I need someone who truly knows flowers, not labels or showroom displays. Someone like you." "Me? I only sell on the street." "And yet you made me want to truly see flowers again," he said. Claudia was hesitant. "What do you want from me?" "Just for you to keep doing what you do, only with more people learning from you." She didn't answer right away. That night, she spoke to the photo of her late mother on the wall. "Do you think someone like me can grow without breaking?" Eventually, Claudia accepted, not for ambition, but for something deeper. For the first time in years, someone truly saw her. Mateo introduced her to Floralia's main branch in Puebla. The marble floors, the towering arrangements, the French names, the uniformed staff, it was overwhelming. "All this is yours," Mateo said gently. "But it feels like it has no heart," she whispered. "That's why you're here," he replied. "You are the heart." Claudia began training young florists. She taught them to choose flowers by emotion, not price, to blend colors like painting a soul, to listen before selling. Slowly, her quiet strength inspired them. But whispers grew. "Who does she think she is, just because the boss likes her?" Claudia pretended not to hear, but it hurt, especially when Lucia, a polished, renowned floral designer and Mateo's ex, arrived for a luxury campaign. Their first meeting was cold. "Ah, you're the one with the special touch," Lucia remarked with a polite smile. "Love isn't always enough in this business." Tension brewed. During a fancy event, Lucia took the microphone and, without naming her, dismissed intuition in favor of formal training. Claudia felt the sting. "Don't invite me where they see me as decoration," she told Mateo later. "You're not decoration." "Then defend me like a partner, not like an exception." She returned to her old corner, her humble stand. "Sometimes castles have cold floors," she murmured to Don Eusebio. Mateo, realizing his mistake, made a public announcement. Before the press, he unveiled a new hybrid flower, strong, beautiful, resilient. "We'll call it Claudia," he said, "in honor of the woman who taught me that no design is more perfect than kindness." The media exploded. But while Claudia's name was everywhere, few cared about her work, only her relationship with Mateo. Hurt, she stepped back. "I don't want to be a romantic story. I want to be real." Mateo was devastated, but understood. He found her again in the market days later. "I don't want to love you only when the world is watching. I want to stay, silently, truly." He planted the first seed of the Claudia flower with her, in a new garden dedicated to women like her, street florists, widows, single mothers. The Garden of Good Hands, a place to grow flowers and dignity. At the inauguration, Claudia said simply, "Flowers don't scream, don't fight. They just bloom where they can. Sometimes they just need someone to believe in them." Time passed. Mateo proposed with a humble ring, and Claudia, with tears, said yes. Their wedding was simple. Sweet bread, rice pudding, handmade dresses. A sign read, "Here we don't sell flowers. We water souls." Claudia never left her stand. Now it bore the name Claudia Flores, bouquets for those who still believe in love that grows. And whenever someone asked about the flower named after her, she smiled and said, "It's called Claudia, like me, not for vanity, but because it's the only flower that, even when... This story reminds us that true kindness never goes unnoticed, even when it feels like the world is too busy to care. Claudia's simple act of generosity set into motion a chain of events that transformed not only her life, but the lives of many others. She taught us that success is not about luxury or titles, but about staying true to who we are, even when others doubt us. Her journey shows that sometimes life plants us in hard soil, but with resilience, humility, and kindness,